Why bother with sketchy torrent sites, pop-ups about singles in your area, and a file called SpongeBob Sexy Time Final V3?
Or a red box, which you really know what that is, then you too locked in, bro. You too old, apparently, nowadays. Piracy won the war streaming laws by over easy.
Not sleeping dead. I mean buried next to Napster, LimeWire, and that one cousin's laptop that sounded like a jet engine because it was 90% malware and 10%
websites.
Shrek 2 rips. For a while, it really looked like the funeral stuck. Netflix showed up with every movie you could imagine for the price of a Domino's special.
Does anyone actually remember that when Netflix first came out and you could just get any and everything you wanted for a price that seemed reasonable? That's the main thing nowadays with these websites, bro. Any bundle, any deal that they give you now is just for a limited time, bro. They gonna cut that price in half to like $2. Even like Crunchyroll, bro. I paid for Crunchyroll. It was $2 when they first offered it to me. It's $11 a month now. Netflix, they be skyrocketing them prices. I think it's around like 20 plus. Even Hulu, don't get me started. You get the base model for Hulu, the base plan. That's with ads. Don't worry, you paying so you can see more ads. You do it without ads. Don't worry, you need a bunch of different add-ons so that you can actually watch the shows that you like. Now you paying for a whole bunch of nothing because you're gonna end up not even liking half the shows, only watching like 2 or 3 things, and then it's just wasting your money at that point.
Spotify made pirating MP3s feel like digging through the trash when someone just handed you a buffet. And collectively, we all decided maybe stealing movies wasn't worth potentially bricking the family PC. But then 2025 arrived and basically said, surprise, the corpse is walking again. Piracy isn't just alive, it's thriving. In 2024 alone, piracy sites racked up 216 billion visits. That's more clicks than Netflix, Disney Plus, and HBO Max combined, which is hilarious, considering those are the exact companies that were supposed to kill piracy off in the first place. Here's the kicker. 76% of Gen Z openly admits to pirating while still paying for subscriptions, which basically means, yes, I give Netflix $20 a month, but I'm also streaming Game of Thrones in 4K from some teenager's server in Prague. It's called balance. So congratulations to the streaming giants. You pulled off the impossible. You won the piracy war, declared victory, and then managed to lose it again.
Some places just don't have the stuff that you want. Like me personally, I pay for Crunchyroll, as I already said. But Crunchyroll does not have every single anime in existence. Just like Netflix, bro. You pay for Netflix, you're not about to have every show in existence. You gonna get Netflix to watch the top 3 shows that they got, maybe Stranger Things here and there, but they don't got everything. So it's like you don't even have any other choice but to try and pirate, because no one in the entire world is actually paying for every last streaming service. Unless you're rich. I mean, are you rich watching this?
And why piracy is back. You've got to rewind to why it blew up in the first place. The 2000s were basically the wild west of the internet. BitTorrent alone ate up 1/3 of all global traffic. LimeWire had more monthly users than Facebook. And the Pirate Bay, that was Blockbuster. If Blockbuster was free, open 24/7, and occasionally gave your computer something that required digital antibiotics. At its peak, around 95% of all music downloads were pirated. Not because millions of people suddenly became criminal masterminds, but because it was cheaper and easier. $10 bought you 1 CD at Walmart, or the exact same $10 could fill your iPod with 2,000 sketchy MP3s labeled things like Final Mix V2, definitely not virus. Most people did the math, and most people chose the sketchy option. And honestly, it wasn't even that hard to justify. If you lived in Australia, half the movies didn't show up until 6 months after the US. If you were broke, your choice was between dropping $19.99 for Shrek 2 on DVD, or leaving your PC overnight to download a shaky cam version with Russian subtitles and some guy coughing in the theater. Spoiler, most of us picked the cough. So no, piracy wasn't a morality problem. It was an access problem, and for a while it was winning. Then came the twist nobody saw coming: streaming. Suddenly, piracy looked like the dumb kid in class. Why bother with sketchy torrent sites, pop-ups about singles in your area, and a file called SpongeBob Sexy Time Final V3, when Netflix was giving you...
You've ever been on any type of piracy website, whether it be for movies, TV shows, anime, anything like that, music, bro, the pop-ups be crazy. Even if you do have an ad blocker, or you're some crazy person who uses Opera or like Brave, where they have a built-in ad blocker, just Google Chrome, then you know those pop-ups be crazy. Apparently a bunch of people want me. In real life, I go and walk outside, bro, no one's gonna talk. The millisecond I want to sit here and watch Sinners without actually having to drive to the movie theaters, apparently there are so many girls in my area that want me, and grandmas, that you could just never get enough of it. And it doesn't make any real sense, because you click off one pop-up to have another one. It's a pop-up every second. You want to search pop-up, you want to play pop-up, you want to change the quality pop-up after pop-up after pop-up.
Everything in HD for $8.99. Netflix was basically the messiah. One subscription, every show, no commercials, no overnight downloads that ended with Russian subtitles. Spotify did the same for music. For the first time, it was actually easier to be legal than to pirate. And convenience always wins. The numbers told the story. In 2011, BitTorrent traffic accounted for 31% of all internet traffic. By 2015, it had dropped below 5%. Spotify killed music piracy so thoroughly that global music piracy rates fell by over 80% between 2010 and 2018. Dang. Netflix pulled off the same trick for video, making people nostalgic for Blockbuster without the late fees. Even parents who once called Netflix the Netflix figured out how to binge an entire season in one night and blame it on autoplay. Between 2012 and 2018, U.S. streaming subscriptions more than tripled, while DVD sales collapsed by 86%. For a brief window, it really looked like the entertainment industry had cracked the code. Piracy wasn't dead, but it was irrelevant. Of course, this is the part where corporations looked at their own success and said, perfect, let's ruin it. And then, right on schedule, the corporations got greedy. Because if there's one thing billion-dollar companies hate more than piracy, it's customers being happy. Netflix looked around and said, wait a second, people love this. Better ruin it. Prices climbed. Disney pulled its catalog to launch its own service. HBO rebranded so many times it forgot what it was called.
Bro, HBO has been HBO Max, HBO The New Frontier, HBO this, and this. Every time I open up that app or open up that website on my computer, it's a new name every time. It was just Max a second ago, and now it's back to HBO Max. But moving back a little bit, what he was talking about with DVDs, do any of y'all even own those anymore? I know a lot of people that watch my videos are probably like younger, but when I was young, bro, that's all we had. Even like the burnt DVDs that you would sell as a sketchy guy outside of like Giant Eagle, Walmart, or whatever, or a Redbox, which if you really know what that is, then you too locked in, bro. You too old apparently nowadays, where you would buy a bunch of DVDs there and maybe return them, maybe not.
Fox showed up, uninvited, like the weird cousin at family dinner. Suddenly your favorite shows weren't like under one roof anymore. They were scattered like Pokemon cards across half a dozen subscriptions. Remember when streaming was supposed to be the cheaper, simpler alternative to cable? Joke's on us. Now it costs more than cable, with clunkier apps, broken search bars, and buffering wheels that spin long enough for you to reconsider your life choices. Congrats! We reinvented the very thing we were running from. Except now, you need a spreadsheet to track which platform has The Office this month. And of course, it didn't stop there. Password sharing, which Netflix once called love, suddenly became theft. Ad-free became ad-light. Disney started deleting its own shows just to avoid paying the creators who made them. Imagine handing over your money only to watch the company you paid actively erase the thing you wanted. That's not a business.
What makes it even worse is not only are they going from ad-free to ad-light or having these companies have you pay just so you can watch ads, which makes really no sense at all. If you are paying money, there should just be no ads, period. That's with every single service. Netflix, Paramount Plus, Apple TV, all of that stuff. If you're giving any amount of money, there should be no ads. But outside of that, it's not even worse that they'll just get rid of certain shows. They'll end up canceling shows that are actually doing well. A show that you will love, you'll be tuning into every single day, and you hear a bunch of people talking about, all of a sudden doesn't have a new season coming out because it apparently wasn't performing well. Yet you will have shows like Big Mouth who will go on to perform some of the worst seasons in the entire world, yet will be on their 20th season for some odd reason, because how long can you really tell a story about some kids who are in high school?
Model. That's corporate gaslighting. So yeah, streaming managed the speed run from hero to villain. And in the process, they achieved something nobody thought possible. They made piracy look like the good guy again. Yeah, they basically made Diddy look like the good guy. And that should tell you everything.
Whoa,
so
not
piracy
Diddy,
walked back in like the ex who got hot after you dumped them. Only this time, it wasn't the janky LimeWire version with half your computer on fire. Modern piracy sites look cleaner than half the streaming apps. No ads, no region locks, no disappearing shows, and, this part really hurts, the search bar actually works. Want to watch a movie that got removed for cost cutting? It's there. Want an entire cartoon library Disney pretends never existed? Already archived. Meanwhile, the paid services give you error screens and tell you to upgrade your plan. It's like paying for bottled water while pirates are handing out free champagne. And the irony, piracy didn't win. Streaming handed it the crown. By splitting content, raising prices, deleting shows, and policing families over passwords, the billion-dollar companies basically said, please, for the love of God, go back to pirating. And people listened, so here we are again. Piracy isn't dead. It's not even guilty anymore. It's just the better option. Disney managed to lose $387 million in one quarter. Warner Brothers torched $10 billion. And Paramount bled $1.6 billion. While Netflix still pockets $8.7 billion a year by selling less and charging more under the label of innovation. Investors cheer, customers cancel. And for viewers, it's not about being evil, it's about convenience. A 2023
and it just becomes more and more inconvenient, bro. Password sharing was also the life of streaming as well. You didn't need to have every last streaming service. If I pay for Netflix, I know somebody that pays for Hulu. We have somebody that pays for Paramount Plus, Apple TV, and then we'll find somebody that has Disney Plus. Yet, all of a sudden, all of these streaming services realized, hey man, they're password sharing, which means we're missing out on money from people that actually want these services. I don't watch enough Disney shows to care about paying for Disney Plus. I don't watch enough HBO shows to care about having HBO. So you just tearing away people that actually want to watch your shows from time to time, at least, because you want to be so fucking greedy. And that's why people are just going to pop up a random website and watch every last thing they want whenever they want.
Survey showed 22% of U.S. households admit to pirating. Nearly 40% for Gen Z, who don't even see it as theft, but as a Yelp review in torrent form. The industry has two choices: fix streaming or double down on stupidity. And if you've ever met a corporation, you already know which one they'll pick, which is why analysts expect $13 billion in losses by 2027. The war on piracy isn't just lost, it's forfeited. If the industry actually wanted to fix this, the solutions aren't rocket science. Consolidate content so people don't need 6 subscriptions. Stop erasing shows people already paid for. Ease up on the nickel and diming with ads and password crackdowns. And maybe, just maybe, price things so families don't need a calculator to watch TV. Do that, and piracy becomes irrelevant again. Don't, and you're basically running free advertising for pirate sites. So here we are. Piracy didn't come back because people got greedier. It came back because corporations did. If a teenager's server in Prague runs smoother than billion-dollar platforms, maybe the wrong side is winning. Call it theft if you want. But the real piracy is charging $100 a month to delete your favorite show.
That was a W video. And the reality of piracy is it's just going to become more and more common. I could look up anything I want online nowadays with the click of a button. So of course, I'm not about to sit there and spend $100+ on a bunch of subscriptions just to use one of them here and there, or to use one of them to watch one show. It's never going to happen. So unless they figure their stuff out, they are not getting not only my money, but probably your money as well. Unless you're not paying for any of them, which that would be pretty surprising. But that's enough for me. If you want to tell me how you feel, the best place to do would be the comment section down below. And if you want to go support the original creator, you could definitely do so by going to my description and watching the video yourself. But if you still want to support me, the best way to do it would be to leave a like, subscribe, and definitely hit that notification bell so you can be notified the millisecond a video goes live. That's enough for me. I'm gonna see you guys in the next one. Peace out.